Hello and welcome to another online meeting hosted by Sobriety Engine. All are welcome in our meetings and we thank you for joining us. Sobriety Engine is an online platform that provides meetings and resources to people struggling with drug or alcohol addiction. Sobriety Engine is not a 12-step fellowship. However, all 12-step fellowships are welcome in our meetings. We understand that many of us who attend online meetings will have a recovery background in a 12-step fellowship. For that reason, we welcome you to share about sponsorship, the 12 steps, your experience with spiritual principles, and any lessons you may have learned in the Big Book, the Simple Text, or any other 12-step literature. Sobriety Engine is also accepting of other recovery-related programs. Your program is your program. We support you and appreciate you being here. If you feel compelled to introduce yourself as an alcoholic or an addict, please do so. However, this is not a requirement to speak or share at our meetings. Maybe this digital meeting is your first taste of recovery. If so, we hope you come here with an open mind and willingness to listen to others. Sobriety Engine also accepts and welcomes people from all walks of life. Regardless of your skin color, your belief systems, your gender, or your sexual identity, you are welcome in our online meetings. Finally, we ask that you come into our meetings with an open mind about spiritual principles. Many of us are clean and sober today because of the spiritual principles we have founded our lives on. No one will push their beliefs on you. We will only welcome you with open arms. The meeting guidelines are as follows. The host of the meeting will share an opening topic. The host will then allow the speaker to speak. When the speaker is done speaking, there will be a general Q&A or support for the speaker or anything that we all want to talk about afterwards. I'll ask that while the speaker is speaking, everybody's microphones stay muted and just be respectful of the speaker and we'll have ourselves a good meeting. So today's speaker is going to be Stephanie. I asked her if she would like to share her story with me about a week or so ago, and she was indecisive, but she decided to. So I think her courage is admirable. She's been in this platform for a couple of weeks, and I still think that her courage is admirable. I think that she is a brave person. So I am looking forward to hearing her story today. As always, I asked the speakers to give me 2 words that I felt would describe their recovery. Stephanie said that persistence and identity is what she would pick to describe her path on recovery. So the fitting quote I found for this is actually by Maya Angelou. It says, "You alone are enough. You have nothing to prove to anyone." And I think that that is very fitting for persistence of finding your identity, because you have to be comfortable in your own skin. And I think that this process is a journey about finding out who we are. So with that being said, Stephanie, the floor is yours.
Okay. Hi, everyone. It's kind of started when I was about 8 or 9. My parents got divorced. Things just kind of hit the fan. My dad became unmanageable. So I just witnessed him lose his shit when I was so young. And then I was always kind of a down kid. I was very depressed. And my dad's your typical Indian dad. He doesn't believe in mental illness. I could be on my deathbed and he'd just be like, take a shit and an ibuprofen, you'll be fine. Type of ideal. So I started getting worse and worse. And I remember just being a kid when I was 11 and middle school, just being to my mom, I don't like who I am. I don't like my life. And she started giving me sleeping pills to calm me down. And I really learned this coping mechanism pretty fast. I was 13 when I first started drinking. Then it just escalated. I was hanging out with people I shouldn't have been. I was 13 hanging out with 18-year-old boys, getting drunk with them, pretty bad. I started stealing beer from my parents all the time. Typical angsty shit. And then by the time I was 15, I tried Xanax. Me and all my friends did it. It was normal. I tried it. I literally couldn't tell you what happened that night. Still don't know what happened that night. None of us do. Um, and then I just really was like, hey, I can like numb all this pain that I'm feeling. And then I just started hating myself even more. And I kept numbing and I kept numbing and I kept numbing. And then eventually it led to me actually developing an eating disorder because I was so bent out of hell that it was like the only thing I felt I could control. And then I started failing classes. I wasn't doing good in school. I wasn't even going to school. So my mom finally put me in therapy. Um, the therapist was like, hey, like you need rehab. And I was like, fuck that. Like I'm not going. I went for a little bit and I was like, yeah, I'm not. Like this is just telling me stuff I already know. I don't care. Didn't take it serious at all. Went back to the same thing. And then we had a meeting in school about how I was failing, how I wasn't ever going, stuff like that. And I was like, okay. And then I found Adderall. Started taking Adderall to do good in school, to help myself. Like, I mean, I would buy it for $1 and just have it go through like 20 in like 3 or 4 days. And I just started pushing this and I was like, okay, like now I'm being successful. Now I'm getting where I want to be. My dad was really pissed at me. So I was like, okay, like I can fix this by doing this. And then I couldn't sleep because I was taking Adderall all the time. So I started taking Xanax and drinking again because I was like, this will help me sleep. So I was like just mixing all these uppers and downers. And then after a while, I just lost it. I became irate. I was just angry at everything and everyone. I started fighting all the time, running my mouth, like just nothing I would normally do as a person now. And I got jumped by 7 girls over drugs. They broke my hand, like ripped my hair out, the whole nine. I was like, I can't live like this. Started losing friendships all the time, et cetera, et cetera. And I was just done. So I finally quit, got together. And then I went to college at the University of South Carolina. And it's a huge party school. Still was battling with identity. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't even know who I was. You said, who's Stephanie? I was just like, I don't know. So then I started partying all the time. I didn't care about school again. It was just a repeat of what happened to me in high school, a complete repeat, except instead of doing Adderall to function, I was doing Coke to function. I easily got my hands on it. My friend was hooking up with a cocaine dealer, so it was pretty much right in our lap all the time. We lived together. We were just toxic. We went out every day. We used alcohol to cope, drugs to cope, anything to cope. And I remember just having a full semester of WFs, which is a withdrawal while failing. She didn't go to class, I didn't do anything at all. I just didn't care. I was just living in a dorm, drinking every day, to excess too, and just would wake up from texts from my siblings about how I fucked up, how I was gonna get raped, like blah blah. And I was like, okay, like this is enough. So then I finally came home, got my shit together again. I always just quit cold turkey, but I never really got help. And so I finally was doing better, started going to class again. I was still taking Adderall here and there, but not as bad as I was. And I kept going. And then I was like, okay, like my shit's together. I'm like 20 or 21 at this point. And then I started dating a guy who grows weed, and I started smoking again and doing that, just kind of diving down into my old habits. Like we would do coke and hang out and just shit like that. It kept happening and I would just spiral. I never got to the root of my eating disorder either. So he told me I was fat, and that was just a huge trigger. It stressed me out to no end. I mean, your significant other commenting on your weight's never okay. I should have been strong enough to just walk away, but I was really weak at the time. And I just started coping again, coping negatively, the whole nine. It's just the same kind of thing over and over. Then I finally got better, started going to class again at Winthrop, got my BA in psych, graduated, moved forward, and then COVID happened. I lost my job where I was extremely happy with. I loved it. I wasn't drinking or doing anything. I just didn't have the time. I had a good routine. Then once COVID hit, I literally lost it. I had a lot of anxiety problems, and I was on Ambien, temazepam, and Klonopin all at one time. I was drinking. I just was depressed. I wasn't sleeping, nothing. I went into psychosis and had a suicide attempt. So I went to a mental hospital and a detox unit and stayed there for a week. And during that time, they left me on Klonopin. So I was just like, okay, like I'm going to get through this with that. Like, thank God. And then I got through it. I got out. They gave me a script of Klonopin, and I was drinking on it and just doing shit I shouldn't have been doing. My friend ended up dying, and I went on a bender for like 3 days. I completely disappeared. I just lost it. And then I just realized I'm living like a state of delusion and that I need help and this isn't working anymore. So then I came here.
All right. Let's say that your story is fairly similar to, I mean, mine. I know that in high school, most of my things started happening and occurring. I taking some notes here. It sounds, it's crazy because everybody who sat down in this speaker chair always tells my story to some extent. And the first time that I used was a gate opener for me to numb myself. I found alcohol, I found drugs, and now I have this escape route. And then I spent a lot of my time chasing that euphoria, that what is this and how can I get that feeling again? Because it was new, and it was, to me, it was the first time I felt a connection of something other than the pain of my life as an adolescent. And so I can relate to that. Very shortly after that, I lost control. I lost powerless. I was powerless over my life. Um, and with that, eventually, as I grew older, I lost control of my thoughts and my emotions and my feelings. I became a product of my environment, the peers in my environment, who was all around me. Um, and some of the things that you alluded to a lot that you didn't wrap up was your eating disorder, and sounds like there's also some family dysfunction going on as well that you haven't really worked on or accepted. Those are all things I too struggle with. I'm not necessarily an eating disorder as far as bulimia, but as we talked a little bit last night in the group, my father was an alcoholic, and that was dysfunctioning on my family. That put a lot of stress, So I lacked acceptance in my life. I had a lot of desperate thinking in my life. I blamed myself, and I had a lot of self guilt and shame. And these are all just notes that I took from your story. And on your way of finding self identity and being persistent, I think it is important to know that, especially now, you're not alone. You are in a safe place. Um, I think the fact that you are looking for your identity is very admirable, especially at a young age. You have enough awareness. You've done this enough times to understand that you want something better for yourself. And I think to an extent, everybody in this room is also still looking for themselves in some way, shape, or form, because we were all lost at one point in time, and we all are on our path to finding self-identity, and that is a persistent journey. That's a persistent daily fight. So I think your word choice is very fitting for your story, and I think it's very fitting for you to keep putting forth this effort to becoming the Stephanie that you want to become, because you are enough, and you have nothing to prove to anybody. Like, you are an incredible person. So that's what I got out of that. I would like to open it up to the rest of the group to help support you or give feedback or whatever. Leo is waving his hand, so I'll mute myself. Go ahead, Leo.
Steph, you know I'm a huge fan. You know that. Is that a bird feeder behind you?
No, it's a little like tea light thing.
Okay, but for me right now, it's a bird feeder, okay? I need the
That's fine.
analogy. Is that
Okay,
okay?
that's fine.
Um, Omar is 1,000 times better coach than I am. I think you got to give this to that man because he's going to give you some great guidance. But I might have a bit I can offer here, just a bit, okay? If that's okay, it's okay. You need to be commended because your portrayal of what you gave was accurate, was honest. The cadence showed truth throughout. You have an accurate reflection of your past, and it's huge. You know, the fact that you're in therapy means that's huge because the anxiety, the depression, all that's part of our journey, right? I'm going to ask you something right now, okay? Are you a cutter?
I used to self-harm a lot when I was younger.
I'm a cutter and a burner. The
Oh,
cigarette
wow.
burns behind my legs and behind my ass. Okay, so the substance, when we choose it, man, it's only 5% of the problem, and that's the truth. That's the truth. Being able to separate them for me was huge. Because once I got, and you should be commended because you're going to therapy. That's huge, man. That's huge. Especially if you like your therapist, you love your therapist, you trust your therapist. Huge, because we don't trust nobody. I don't. To get that therapist to help you unpack the anxiety, all that stuff, beautiful. If you were able to take care of that 5%, if you were able to go to a program and dig in, like mine is 90 days, and it's if you have an issue with substances, this is like a Super Bowl. I'm sure there's Super Bowl places in the States that you can go to. Because what happens is you listen, you've heard me share and you've heard me break down here a few times, right? But you don't cry. You ever notice that? You don't cry. And that's not a knock on you or an attack on you. Some people, they don't try because they can't cry. Because they can't cry. You know, we go to a place where nothing can hurt us. We're oblivious to what's going on in front of us, and we stay there. I went to hate, and I cried all the time with hate. Hate's my trigger for crying all the time, right? That's my journey. I don't know what yours is, but if you can get the booze and the pills and the coke, if you get that out of the equation, you get rid of that. If you can find a way to find a place you can trust, a home you can trust, a public home you can trust, where you got to go back to meetings like this, and you gain tools, and it helps. It helps so much because once this is gone, your therapy is going to be so much better, and your life is going to be so much better because you're going to stand in your own power. You're going to realize that you're a tough fucking chick. You know what? And you are a smart fucking chick. And you got a heart as big as the San Francisco Bridge, and you love everybody, and you're not getting an opportunity to do that. But the bird feeder thing, you got to love yourself first, man. You got to feed yourself. And that's hard for us to do. I can feed myself with hate, no damn problem. But feeding myself with love, that took so long to learn, and it's a process. But Steph, if you get rid of the booze, if you get rid of that 5%, if you get rid of that, man, the rest of it's just going to open up, and your life is going to be so much happier because then you're going to get mad at everything. You're going to get mad and you say, you know what? F this happened to me. I'm going to make sure it don't happen to nobody else. And you become, my friends, they call me a sheepdog now. And I love that. You know, once in a while, I got to eat one to stay alive. But for the most part, I protect the herd. You know what I mean? You are going to be such a sheepdog. I'm going to shut up. Sorry for taking all this time.
Thanks,
Leo,
Leo.
you have great insight, Leo. You have great advice, great love. Geraldine, what do you have to say?
Good morning, friends. Geraldine, alcoholic. Stephanie, thank you so much for your share, your transparency, your vulnerability. And like Travis said, it's like when somebody speaks, it's like I hear my story in it. I was 11. My dad's an alcoholic. I got to see the abuse. And I had a weight problem. I thought my mom would get me whites. I don't even know if you're old enough to know what those are. But I just want to just tell you how proud I am just in these last couple of weeks of just knowing you. You're such a good, honest person, and honesty that's what's going to get you sober and keep you sober. And you're being honest with us, and you got to be honest with yourself. Like the other day you said something about you had some alcohol or whatever. I mean, that is huge to come here and tell us. And keep coming back, keep coming back. That's our thing. Keep coming back. We don't care how. Crawl back, do whatever. Just don't leave. You've got this. And what Leo said, I mean, he hit the nail on the head. I mean, you are enough. You are beautiful. You're enough. And I just wanted to tell you, I mean, you're so young. I mean, it's kind of like a jealous thing, because I'm 56. I think you said you're 24, and I didn't get this until I was 43, So I just want to grab you and hug you and just keep you here and just love you to pieces until you love yourself. So with that, I'll let somebody else share, but I just wanted to thank you for your share.
Thank you so much, Geraldine. It's how many times I've been told that people are thankful they see like the youth in the meetings, that we wish we would have gotten it sooner. And this is, especially working with Stephanie, we've developed a relationship and a bond in this platform. But I think it's important for all age groups to stick together, because, realistically, the age is only a reflection of how many days we've, fallen asleep and woken up. We face this battle in our head every single day. But it's also important to realize that you have a lot of life to live, regardless of where you're at, to stay sober. Sometimes in our youth, though, we're not as wise, and it's easy to slip in and out of the holes. So I would like to see you keep staying around, Stephanie. You help keep me in these meetings as well as everybody else. Does anybody have anything that they would like to share with Stephanie? Yogi? Go ahead, you can unmute yourself.
Hey, how are you, everybody? I'm JD. I'm a spiritual being in recovery from addiction. I'm sorry I was late, but I just passed by the computer and said live meeting, and I'm like, I gotta go. So I missed the story, but I'm getting kind of from the shares what was going on. And what I could relate to definitely was the, finding yourself, finding your true self. I can remember, for the last number of years, I mean, I was like, man, I don't know about anybody else, but I went on until my early 30s until I even realized I had a problem. Actually, it was probably my early 30s was the first time I said, I think I'm an alcoholic. I had already given up marijuana by myself. I had already beat a cocaine addiction by myself, but I never said I was an addict, but for 6 months I was doing cocaine every day. How is that not a problem? And then, then the drinking really, when I gave up all the drugs, then the drinking just ramped right up until, I was having vodka in my smoothies every day. And I gave up. I remember going, well, I'm an alcoholic, and that's a dangerous thing when people come into the program and don't fully understand when they walk into a room and say, I'm an alcoholic, because I started thinking, well, I am. And I guess that's me. That's this life. I'm just going to, you know, I'm going to do a Leaving Las Vegas and I'm just going to drink myself to death. But, you know, like I can't, because I tried to quit over and over and over again. And until I really got into therapy, I heard somebody mentioned therapy. I did some EMDR, and I really did the 12 steps as a path to spiritual awakening, to find my true self. Then I realized, oh, no. Like I wasn't, like this being in this existence is an addict and alcoholic, and I can't, this body and this mind can't take drugs and alcohol. But this soul, this true self is not, right? So, you know, then I found that that's not a way to live. And that's when I was really free for me. That's when the freedom came. But yeah, you know, it took a lot of work, but as I went along, the freedom got more and more, and I got more me. You know, I wasn't trying to hide me. And I love that old saying, you know, that for years I was trying to fill that God-shaped hole. Like, what's missing? What's missing? You know? And for me, it was just seeing, it was acceptance, pure and utter acceptance. This is the way life is, but I can find the beauty in it, or I can find the ugliness, the light, the dark, the yin, the yang. And it, you know, it was just a way of looking at life. But it's hard. I had to retrain myself. So, you know, and it took a long time, and it takes, you know, it's still every day. I wake up in the morning, some mornings I'm just like, oh my God, do I have to get out of bed? But then you go, well, hold on a second. What I can have a choice. Am I going to get out of bed and have a great day and help somebody, jump in a meeting, call a friend, go for a walk, do some yoga and meditation? Oh, yeah, look at all these choices I have. You know, I only had one choice before, and that was get obliterated so I don't have to exist. Now I have all the choices, but it works. It takes work every day, but it gets easier every day. And then on top of it, you find this amazing community where I can drop in on, well, video now, but I could go and drop into a meeting, and everybody loves it and understands me and relates to me. I mean, I have normie friends. I have lots of normie friends, but they'll never get it. They'll never get it, you know? They have their own things, and maybe I've had a couple of people who can relate in other ways, just in the way that they're addicted to their mind, you know? But the addiction, the physical taking, I have one of my energy healers says, it's the taking. She says, when did you start taking? Because you're trying to take something from outside to fill that emptiness when it's all available to you, you know? And when I stopped taking, and like in the program, you start giving, then it shifted. That's when it really shifted for me. So all the best to you on your journey, and I hope to see you here again. So take care of yourself. Hi, everybody.
Thank you. That was great bit. I too am a pretty firm advocate on the power of choice. And sometimes the hardest choice for me is putting my feet on the floor in the morning time. But like you said, there's a snowball of choices that accumulate after that. Do I make my bed? Do I not make my bed? Do I get breakfast? Do I not get breakfast? Do I do my daily routine? Do I not do my daily routine? And I find that when the more no's occur, the more easier it is for my disease to come knocking on my door. Sometimes it comes with a battering ram that knocks it down, and you know, it's got like a whole parade with it. And it's you got to be conscious of our thoughts and in this journey here. So I had a question for Stephanie. When you say that the thing is identity that you're looking for, who do you want to become?
I don't really know. Like, I know what I want to do and like who I want to be, but like I definitely want to be like an autonomous self, and I think that that's like a hard time for me to get to. I don't know, I'm still figuring that all out. I mean, it took me this far to get it together, but it just, I take it day by day and figure it out, because I was just, didn't know who I was for so long and put pressure on to be this person that I didn't want to be. So it kind of took over. So I guess I'm just trying to take it day by day and like figure that out. So I ask myself that every day. My therapist asks me that every day, every session. It's the first question she asked me.
Do you feel stressed in yourself that you have to have an answer for that question?
Yeah.
To be completely honest with you, I have a lot of people that I want to be, but I'm learning that sometimes asking myself who I am is better left unanswered. And I just move forward with that. I definitely think that you are definitely showing signs of the person that you want to be. And I think that even when you started out as a kid, you knew who you wanted to be. You just have to come to a place like this or with therapy to gain the tools to be willing to ask yourself the difficult questions that you've been running from. And sitting in a meeting like this where you make yourself completely vulnerable is going to open up a lot of doors. Maybe not right now. They might start opening up 2 hours from now, 2 days from now, 2 weeks from now. But when you open up doors, something is going to come in. And when you're allowing good energy, good positivity to come into your life, some of the answers that you seek will come. There's always going to be more questions. There's always going to be more closed doors. There's always going to be challenges and obstacles to overcome. So I guess if you get too hung up on trying to figure out who you want to be, work on letting it be and just focus on what you need to do in this present moment. Does anybody have anything that they would like to, add on here? Leo wants to get in again.
Just one more thing, Steph. Every time you went to a program, I don't care if you graded or you got kicked out. Every time we go to a program, we get a piece of it. You heard something in there. You got something. You got something that you're going to carry on to the next one. So even if you go this time and you don't make it, you're going to get a piece of it. And the next time is going to be better. Eventually, all the tries will become a success and you're going to get there. This might be the time. But I got total confidence in you, man. And so don't forget, Wednesday with Omar, the procedure.
Yes, Omar will definitely put you on the hot seat and he will definitely help you get through these things. Chris, you got something to say?
David has a question there, man.
David?
No, it was just a quote. That's all I put in the chat. But hey, I'm David. I'm an alcoholic, and I have. It's been my last drink was on September 30th, so I'm pretty fresh. I've been in and out of the program. JD, I like what you had to say. I can relate. I kind of, I would have bouts of sobriety and then, fall off the wagon and go back in and out. The thing I'm struggling with the most right now is, and first of all, I'm new. So guys, I know it seems like you all know each other already. So I'm just dropping it in. But I needed a meeting today, so I wanted to join. And I'm of two minds on this because one, it's showing my wife and son that I'm trying to get myself straight, my life together, but at the same time, it's for me too. So the thing I'm struggling with right now is just rebuilding the trust that I broke. I have a 10-year-old. He is in counseling now too. So, because I don't want him to grow up I, with the effects that my drinking has brought to this family. So I'm gonna put my video on. Sorry, so you can see me. Yeah, it's just a really weird place for me right now. You know, my wife, God bless her, we've been married 25 years on Wednesday, and I think I just struggle with how do I want the trust to get rebuilt quickly, but that's not realistic. I have to do the work. I have to demonstrate that I've changed. And JD, you talked about the 5, I think it was you that was talking about the 5%, or no, Leo, it was you, 5%. Get rid of the 5%, everything else will take care of itself. I've got to let go of that 5% and just let things happen. Too much, I'm trying to control the outcomes. I want to know, I have to know. I have to know everything's going to be okay. I have to know this marriage is going to succeed. I have to know that I'm going to have, you know, this and that. And so, you know, I don't know. I'm kind of rambling right now. I'm a little nervous because I'm new. So, yeah, I'm just trying to repair the damage that I did. And it's so, you know, I always thought I could sneak my way around this thing. You know, I could sneak my way around this thing. It's not going to hurt anybody. You know, it's not going to hurt anybody. And now it's all caught up with me. And now I have to face it. And, you know, trust doesn't get rebuilt overnight. Intimacy, closeness, a relationship with your spouse, your partner, whatever, it doesn't get rebuilt overnight. And I have to remember that. And I have to be selfless enough to give her the space that she needs so that she can get past what I did. And then I just need to focus on staying sober. So, Stephanie, thank you for your honesty. Thank you for your story. Yeah, I mean, our ages are totally, you know, whacked. I'm 55, but I totally related to what you were saying. So thank you.
Thank you for sharing, David. Welcome to Sobriety Engine. I'm pretty sure if you stick around, you'll find as much confident as your peers in this group and on a platform that this is a pretty incredible place to come and get help, support, love. It's definitely one of the most healing, therapeutic peer groups I've ever been around, and I've been around the block quite a bit in my young life. So I'm glad to see you here, and thank you for sharing. For several meetings, I'm sure I'll see you around. Leo, I see you flashing your hand. What you got, buddy?
Hey, David. I don't know you, brother. I got no agenda to hurt you, right? None at all. I don't know you. Very similar situation to you. My ex caught my booze stash 4 times, and she said, I can't do this anymore. It's either me and the kids or you're drinking. And I said, you know what? You take everything, because that's how bad I was. That's how much of a hole I was in.
Yeah.
Okay. At some point, she's going to stop being your wife, and she's going to stop being a mom. She's going to start being a mom, because we are now dangerous to the family, right?
Right.
So like I said, no agenda to hurt you. If you want to get into it, reach out to me on Facebook, brother. Let's do an hour there. And if you don't like what you hear, click it and I'm gone. But I think my crap can help you with your crap by helping you get to a decision quicker. You got a lot of guts for throwing that out here, and I'm proud of you. And this is a great place to be. Keep coming back. If you don't want to Facebook me, you don't have to, but just you got to get all that. You got to get it out. I was 58, or I was 52 when I went into my recovery home, and the only reason I went is because I fell through a table. I fell through a glass table, or I'd still be drinking. So I get it, brother, I get it. But the good thing is that I want to tell you is sobriety is actually possible. I was a drunk for more than 40 years and I'm sober almost 9. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it.
Thank you.
Chris, I saw you unmuted a couple minutes ago before we went on off this this tangent with David. Did you have anything you still wanted to share to the group?
Yeah,
Chris,
yeah, yeah, that was a, thank you for your share, Stephanie. That was good. I mean, a lot of what was said earlier about how when we go to meetings, you know, every time when I was new, first of all, I never wanted to go to AA. I was in a rehab that required it, and if you didn't go, you didn't have your little thing signed 3 meetings a week, they chucked you out. So I had to go. And every time someone got up and spoke, there was a little bit of their story that was me. I was like, yeah, I used to hide my liquor in the washing machine too. Yeah, I used to do that too. Hey, no, yeah, I remember that too. I remember making those promises to myself that I would never drive with my kid while I was drunk. Well, you know, that shit went out the window the minute you took the 3rd drink, and the kid still had to get somewhere, right? So all those things that you can't take back, you know, you can just learn to somehow get past and maybe forgive yourself one day for those things. But the one thing I will say that helped me when I was first trying to get sober and all I could think about was drinking was, you know, the technique of playing the video in your head of where that ends up. And you know, they taught me that really early in rehab. You know, they're like, hey, anytime you think about taking a drink, just you know, put that tape on play and see where it lands you. Where did it land you last time, the time before that, the time before that, the time before that, you know, the multiple, you know, visits to the ER, the multiple, you know, you know, just, I didn't mind the blowout at the house where everyone would just leave or I would just leave because then I could really get my drink on, right, without any feedback. So it was never a problem for me when an argument arose because someone was going to end up leaving, right, to go somewhere else. So it was perfect for me because then I could get my drink on the way I wanted. So yeah, no, that was a really good share, and there's definitely something there. I mean, I think you know, I don't want to get too far into it, but yeah, you know, a lot of people that are in these rooms and similar rooms with different programs probably had very tough childhoods, but and we carry that into our adulthood, whether we want to or not. And everyone says, you know, I gave that up a long time ago. Things. I'll be honest with you, through my therapy and counseling, and you know, I've learned to say, hey, you know, I am responsible for my actions. No one's responsible for the actions and decisions I make now, right? Other than me, right? I can have the best sponsor, I can have the best psychiatrist, I can have the best rehab counselor, and I got a great home group, and they're all wonderful and supportive, but the decision is mine. The personal accountability comes to me, right? And I have to find a way. So I definitely look at that and say, you know, there's personal accountability there now. And, you know, people say, well, you can't blame the things that happened to you in the past for the decisions you make now. Well, you know, it's kind of shitty because we feel bad about something, or maybe we never got that acceptance. You know, my dad was an absent father, so, you know, never got that acceptance or that hey, you know, that attaboy that you're always looking for as a young kid, you know. And that's okay. You know, I am who I am now, and I'm responsible for my own decisions, and that's okay. And luckily for me, through a ton of support and staying close to the community, above all things, anything that I've learned in rehab, AA, you know, going to different meetings in different locations and things like that, the one thing that has kept me sober and above all else is community. Is I stay as close to the community as I can, and for me that has really worked, and it's given me 15 months. So if you'd have told me 15 months ago I was going to get to 15 months, I would have told you were crazy. There was no way I was ever going to make it. but staying close to the community, having some accountability. When I don't show up for certain meetings, people call me. Hey, what happened? You weren't there. What's going on? I'm like, I got stuck at work. I'm okay. I'll see you at the 6th or whatever. And we move past it, you know. But that accountability is great. And having those people even just call to check up on you because you didn't show up for a meeting, or, you know, you said you'd call at 10 and now it's 11:30 and you haven't called. They call you to check. It's definitely worth it. So anyway, I'm rambling. So thanks for your share, Stephanie. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for that share, Chris. I really like the aspect, you know, a lot of what you said, but right there at the end when you're talking about the community and the accountability and all that stuff, the first thought that popped into my head was the communities give me the love that I never got as a child, that I never received as a child. They never genuinely checked in my well-being because I never felt that they genuinely cared. Like, some of the people in this group will text me and I genuinely feel like they care about my well-being. They genuinely want me to get better. And there's obviously I want to get better for myself because I'm putting the work in for myself. But when I have so many people relying on me to do such a thing, and that helps give motivation to do what needs to be done, because I very much have my training wheels on in my recovery, and I might very well have them on all the way until like I'm 6 feet under. I don't know. But the fact that there is a community available to reach out to us and give us all of this love that we have been neglected or not received all of our life gives us ample opportunity to be able to be vulnerable and work on those issues and be like, hey, I had some childhood traumas in my life. I'm going to be brave and courageous and put it on the table and see how many people are like me and see all the feedback that I can get back. That is a very powerful tool and a resource to have. And I really wanted to drill that home off of what you said, Chris. So thank you for sharing that. Stephanie, how are you feeling now after you shared and all these people have told you that we are all alike, we give you love? Do you think that you can move forward in this community with love and continue to find your self-identity?
Yeah, and I appreciate everyone's words. It really resonated with me. Yeah. Leo, don't you think that I won't cry after this? I just don't like showing my tears.
Do you respect me any less of a man because I'm a blubbering idiot on this
I love you every day.
I know, so do I. I get it, kiddo. You're in there. I got you. You'll be all right. You're safe.
But yeah, I appreciate everyone. It really helped me actually come to terms with a lot of things. I don't know if you noticed, I never introduced myself as an addict, but I kind of was in self-denial for so long. I didn't want to admit it. One thing I need to work on too is my age group. It's hard. People just think it's a lifestyle. I'm like, it's not. All my friends drink, you know? So it's really hard to explain your sobriety, and I know I don't have to, but when you're not drinking, it's like, why aren't you drinking? We're all drinking. You're sitting there like, So that's kind of one thing I have to work on too, is just having the strength in my own self to just be like, no, and walk away. And that's something I think that I needed to work on a lot as well. After sharing my story, it made me realize that too. And it's okay to walk away. It's okay to not engage. It's okay.
Can I throw a quick line out? When they say that to me, they say to me, I'd say, because I'm working on my problems.
That's a good one.
Very good. So Stephanie, I'll add something too to that. When all this COVID stuff is over and people can remingle, I know here, I live in the South Bay in San Jose, California. There are 7 different young adult groups here. I don't go to those because I'm not a young adult, but there are 7 different young adult groups, and I've actually I was a speaker at one of them one time. But wherever you are, there is probably, if you're interested in either NA or AA as a program, there's probably a young adult group there as well. Don't know where you live, but.
I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. Yeah, I looked into them. My therapist told me about them, and because of COVID, I couldn't really find any, but I'll look again. But I'm liking this better right now. So.
This is pretty awesome.
This is a pretty awesome platform. Chris Morton, do you have any words to say, or are you busy listening?
Hey everybody, I'm Chris. I'm an alcoholic. I'm not a meeting host. I'm bumbling around here, and I signed up to host the meeting tonight. And somehow when I came here, it showed up host, but I just don't know what I'm doing right now. But yeah, Stephanie, that was, you know, you are such a beautiful spirit and a beautiful person. It is just shocking to me. You're at a crossroads, and man, you have got a bright future ahead of you like you wouldn't believe. You know, I had to fill that hole in my soul, and that the drugs and alcohol took from me. And they used to tell me, Chris, put your slippers way underneath your bed, so when you wake up in the morning, you're on your knees when you grab them. And I said, well, I don't have slippers. They said, well, put your toilet paper under there then. But you know, I really, you know, I went to a ton of meetings, but really it was about me getting in that personal relationship with my higher power and filling that hole in my soul. But your future is so bright. Look, there are darker places you can go to. I promise you, I've been there. You don't want to go there. And you're doing so great, and your future is so bright, and you're a beautiful spirit. And there's somebody host a meeting tonight that's pretty good, I hear. So see y'all tonight. Later. Oh yeah, I got to get out there. My wife's giving me the eagle eye. I got to go clean up all this storm damage. I'm trying from the storm.
That's lying. Oh, you know. Oh yeah. I tell you what you want to hear. And you know, family. They talked a lot about family meetings going all along. Does your brothers listen?
All right. Must have been an accidental there. Amber, do you have anything that you'd like to say before we wrap this up?
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate everybody. I enjoy listening to everyone's stories. Stephanie, I appreciate how vulnerable you were, and it's amazing how much everything you said resonates with me. I'm close to your age, but I'm 33, and I've kind of been hardcore drinking since I was like 14, 15. I'm pleased. It's a blessing that you have reached the young age of 24 and realize the flaw in your way and you want to change. I'll say prayers for you, girl. I wish that we had more time to talk. I will put my email in the comments if you want to reach out. I'm more than willing to give you a call. I feel like we're alike in many, many ways. And I also, just to throw this out there, I enjoy this group. I'm very new, so it's always been hard for me to, I guess, articulate what I want to say, but I appreciate hearing the guys' view on addiction and how they're trying to change or they're trying to heal. I too am going through a difficult time in my marriage, David, and I needed to hear you say that trust doesn't get built overnight. It's going to take time. It took time to damage it. It didn't take overnight to damage it. So it's going to take time to heal. So yeah, I just enjoy hearing everybody's version of their addiction and how far they've come or how they're going to get to where they want to be. So with that, I'll throw my email in there if you want to reach out. I hope you do. I look forward to it. But Godspeed, everybody, and I look forward to tonight's meeting.
Thank you for sharing, Amber. And one more time, welcome to David and Amber to this platform. I think I've seen Amber in a meeting or two, so I'm glad to see you staying consistent with it. David, I hope to see you stay consistent with it. We all want each other to heal. We all want to give each other love. You know, don't be afraid to share what's on your mind, because you never know whose life you might save.
Thank you.
So as long as nobody has anything burning on their soul to share with us, we can wrap this up and go on our Saturdays on our spiritual journey to continue to discover our self-identities with persistence. Stephanie's brave words and brave share. So we can take a moment of silence here for those who are still sick and suffering, and we will close out with the Serenity Prayer. God,
God,
grant me the
grant
serenity
me the serenity
to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom
wisdom to know the difference.
just for today. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Thank you, Travis.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
thanks for hosting.
Yes. Enjoy your Saturday, guys. I'm going to go to an apple orchard and enjoy some fall weather for once in my life. I'm gonna have a good sober day today. I wish you all well. I love you all. Thank you.
Take care, everybody. Peace.
You crushed it, Travis. This is your space, man. This is your space, man. And thank you for letting me, all of us, be part of it. This is your space, man. Proud of you. Enjoy that. Enjoy those apples. When do you get the cherries, man? Cherry picking.
I gotta go up. I gotta go like 2.5 hours up north to get the cherries, man.
Do it. Peace.
Well, peace, buddy.
Thank you.